Watch your favorite programs anywhere in the world by going to Play Store on Android and App Store on iOS. Search for Vision TV UK, download and install. Then you're good to go.
Hello and a very warm welcome. This is the news on NTA International. My name is Justin Bemuye, and here are the top stories. Effects of climate change on agriculture. FAO encourages governments at all levels to protect the environment against pollution. Nigerian Army inaugurates medical facility to cater for troops in Yola, Adamawa State. Plus, car bomb kills about 90 people in Mogadishu, Somalia's capital. Well, thank you very much for joining us and compliments of the season. Let's begin from Guinea-Bissau, where electorate are set for runoff presidential election in the country. And correspondent Musbau Danwahab is standing by to give an update from Bissau. Musbau, thanks for joining us.
The situation is generally peaceful here in Bissau, the national capital of Guinea-Bissau, and stakeholders are anxiously waiting for this Sunday to see what comes out of this runoff election in the presidential election of 2019. And electorates particularly are hoping to speak into the ballot boxes and decide who is going to be the next president of this country. One of the major stakeholders in this process is ECOWAS, and its election observation mission has been going on consultations with stakeholders, particularly the candidates, to talk to them towards ensuring that this election is peaceful. Talking about the candidate of the African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cabo Verde, Domingo Simões Pereira, and that of Madam G15, Umaro Sissoko Embalo. Here's what they told the mission.
No, I trust the Guinean people. I hope they will exercise their choice in freedom and transparency. And once the electoral institution delivers the result, I'll be the first one to accept, as I accepted on the first round, with no complaints, with no remarks. The Electoral Commission is the one empowered to make the results. Once it pronounces the results, for me, it's final.
Parce que je suis un démocrate.
I'm a Democrat. I come from a background that is disciplined. I obey command, and I'm already well structured and organized to manage.
Le plus important, c'est aussi après l'élection.
The most important thing is after the election, the next president should work with everybody to face the challenges for the prosperity of Guinea-Bissau and to achieve the development.
The candidates there expressing their commitment towards a peaceful conduct during and after this election. And the ECOWAS Election Observation Mission has also met with the president of the National Electoral Commission that has expressed their readiness to conduct a peaceful and credible election for Guinea-Bissau.
Thank you very much, Musbau Danwahab. And here is Musbau Danwahab again to give us more update on the runoff election in Guinea-Bissau.
Party supporters were back in the frenzy of election anxiety, visibly overshadowing the excitement for the Christmas and New Year festivities. The political gladiators are now fewer, but the contest is tougher. The poll could not end at the first round on November 24th as no candidate secured the 50% and 1 vote required to emerge winner. The battle line is now drawn between the 2 leading candidates, former Prime Ministers Domingo Simões Pereira and Umaro Sissoko Embalo. And as the party loyalists show support for their respective candidates, what bothers Ruiz Almada is when peace will finally return to the political landscape of Guinea-Bissau. It is also the hope of the head of ECOWAS observation mission that the outcome of this election will return the country to the path of development.
We want stability, we want peace for going to the next level, as President Buhari said, the next level meaning development for the country.
Runoff election is not new to the Guineans, as elections have historically been resolved over 2 rounds. However, the memory of a 2012 coup d'etat in days before a second round of election calls for caution.
The military clearly stated that they are not interested in politics and they stay back and they stay to protect the democracy. That I think with that we are moving in the right direction, that the repeat of 2012 will not come to it.
The ECOMIP, a stabilizing force of ECOWAS, says intelligence report favors conduct of election this Sunday. In Bissau, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
We now move to Vietnam, where a court on Saturday sentenced an ex-minister to life imprisonment in a multi-million-dollar corruption case that also saw another minister and a dozen executives receive lengthy prison terms. Nguyen Bac Son was accused of taking a bribe of $3 million to orchestrate the 2016 acquisition of a digital television service on behalf of state-owned Mobifone, one of major mobile network operators in Vietnam, when he was Minister of Information and Communication. Son, a former military officer, ordered the transaction that involved the purchase of 95% of shares of the indebted audio-visual global company for an equivalent of $383.83 million, a price that had been inflated almost 10 times. In another development, a car bomb has exploded at a busy security checkpoint in Somalia's capital, killing at least 73 people. Eyewitnesses said it was one of the deadliest attacks in Mogadishu in recent memory, adding that its force reminded them of the devastating 2017 bombing that killed hundreds of people. Government spokesman Ismail Mukhtar told newsmen that the toll could rise as scores of people were rushed on Saturday to hospitals. Dr. Mohammed Yusuf, director of Medina Hospital, said they had received 73 bodies. Abdulkadir Abdirahman, director of the Amin Ambulance Service, counted more than 50 wounded. Most of those killed were university and other students returning to class. Police said 2 Turkish nationals were killed in the incident. The blast targeted a tax collection center during the morning rush hour as Somalia returned to work after its weekend. And back here in Nigeria, human capital development is said to be a key factor in driving the economy of many nations. It is against this background that the federal government is investing heavily on ICT for the development of the country. Rayano Bala reports that this came to the fore when the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, was inaugurating an ICT center in Yola.
The use of information and communication technology is no doubt adding value to the system and increased productivity among the people, especially youths, through the use of computer.
You can become whatever you desire in life, provided you remain consistent, you remain focused, you remain resolute, you remain determined in the pursuit of your passion and of your interests.
The inauguration of an ICT center at Nasarawa Primary School, Yola, Adamawa State, by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, is to fill in the gap as well as expose the pupils to computer education. The SGF said With the ICT-based driven society, the capacity of pupils will be enhanced and make them self-reliant at a later age. Boss Mustafa also provided a projector, solar power, and a borehole for effective utilization of the ICT center. As part of his initiative to support the youths, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation empowered them with tricycle to enable them earn a living.
My appeal to our young ones: respect constituted authority. Respect your teachers.
Dignitaries at the ceremony were full of commendation to the SGF for the gesture, which will impact on the lives of the people. In Yola, Rayanu Bala, NTA News.
Let's now turn to agriculture and the environment, where the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations is encouraging governments at all levels to assist in protecting the environment against pollution capable of destroying farmlands. Now, this is based on a discovery that shows that in every 5 seconds, a productive land equivalent to a soccer pitch is eroded globally, thereby affecting soil fertility as well as global food security and safety. Musa Babaliu tells us more.
In the next 50 years, the global crop yields will drop by 25% as a result of effects of climate change. This is the findings of the Food and Agriculture Organization, which also indicates that demand for food is expanding alongside the world population, and Africa is to take the largest share in all these.
Every 5 seconds, the equivalent of a football pitch is eroded globally, affecting soil fertility as well as global food security and safety.
Investigations show that Nigeria is already having a bite of the climate change, as the country loses 11% of its arable land and forest to deforestation annually. Desertification in the northern part of the country is said to be advancing consistently at the rate of 0.6 kilometers per annum.
Soil degradation is a major challenge to soil productivity. Most of the soil functions are affected by degradation.
What is more disturbing to agriculturists and environmentalists is the manner in which farmers fell trees for energy. For instance, it has been discovered that shea butter producers in Niger, Kogi, and Kwara states, alongside their charcoal producers, are guilty of deforestation.
And also sensitize our local communities by engaging even the community heads like the Dagachi and the Hakimi to ensure that those kind of communities where this thing is predominant, they stop cutting the trees, while we continue our work on domesticating some of the laws.
Several studies have demonstrated that deforestation exposes the soil to wind and water erosion.
When the soil is eroded, the first culprit is the top layer that supports the growth of plants and animals. Subsequently, it leads to gully erosion.
The United Nations agencies are now supporting 8 states in the country towards addressing effects of climate change. The agencies will as well raise awareness on the importance of sustaining healthy ecosystems and human well-being. Communities will be encouraged to engage in activities that will improve the soil and mobilize political will as well as resources to raise soil profiles. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And now, to boost the morale of troops and upskill operations in the Northeast, the Nigerian Army has inaugurated a medical facility to cater for troops and the neighboring community and the transit camp at the 23 Brigade Yola, Adamawa State. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Buratai, who performed the ceremony, notes that the facility, with the capacity of accommodating 30 personnel, will further improve the welfare of soldiers and officers while in the military camp.
The Entrepreneurship and Skill Acquisition Center is expected to develop the skills of the youths and women here in the cantonment in becoming self-reliant. In the same vein, the transit accommodation will assist in facilitating the general administration of the large number of personnel deployed here in the Northeast, who use the Gibson Jallow cantonment as a transit point. Also, The accident and emergency ward will enhance healthcare delivery for the soldiers and their families, as well as the locals residing around the cantonment.
Headquarters 3 Division will continue to initiate and execute various projects in its cantonments and barracks aimed at enhancing the welfare and the fighting efficiency of the troops.
Other projects inaugurated include a skill acquisition center, accident and emergency ward at the Gibson Jalo Military Cantonment, Yola. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. Stay tuned for more news after the break.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
Can tell me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Press OK.
Wow, now you sef fit catch all those channels wey be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your group for no loss. You see as I do am, abi?
And I see as I do am.
Go TV, live it, love it.
And I see as we do am.
And thank you very much for staying with us. Now let's join Uche Ugochukwu for a quick reminder of top stories in Nigeria in 2019.
Welcome to a special edition of this segment where we will bring you the summary of strategic events in 2019. It is basically a year of elections with its attendant litigations over pre-election and election matters, beginning with the presidential and National Assembly elections. The year also featured governorship and state houses of assembly elections in some parts of the country. As expected, litigations followed, especially from the main opposition PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar against the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari, but the president emerged victorious at the Supreme Court. And in the judiciary, a sitting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogan, was arraigned before the Code of Conduct Tribunal over non-declaration of assets and was found guilty of the 2 counts charged. After much deliberations, the National Judicial Council recommended his compulsory retirement and the appointment of Justice Tanko Mohammed as his replacement. In the year 2019, the justice sector handled majorly corruption cases, with a sitting Senator Orjo Zakalo sentenced to 12 years in prison, and former Attorney General of Nigeria, Mohammed Adoke, was arraigned in connection with the $1.3 billion Halliburton oil deal. The federal government ordered the release of the former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki and the convener of Revolution Now, Omoyele Sowore, a move applauded by Nigerians. In the year under review, the 2020 appropriation bill of 10.594 trillion naira was passed by the National Assembly and subsequently signed into law by President Buhari. Described as the earliest so far, it has paved way for the return of a January to December budget cycle in the country. The president also assented to the bill, which amends the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act, which seeks to improve the revenue accrued to the federal government from oil. The signing into law of the bill for the implementation of 30,000 naira minimum wage for civil servants in Nigeria by President Buhari was part of the milestones in 2019. Elsewhere, Nigeria's Tijani Mohammed Bande assumed the position of the 74th President of the United Nations General Assembly. Moving on, the manufacturing sector got the boost with the central bank's credit push policy that forced lenders to extend more credit to the private sector. According to the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele, lending rose to $1.3 billion. Meanwhile, as part of efforts to curb smuggling, Nigeria in October closed her borders to the movement of goods. The action improved local businesses, while some critics say it threatened free trade across the region. In the meantime, Nigeria introduced issuance of visa at the point of entry to all persons with passports of African countries, with effect from January 2020. This is in a bid to make travel and tourism more attractive in the country. The federal government also launched a family support program geared towards implementing a multi-billion naira agricultural scheme to enhance food security and income generation in the country. The scheme is expected to be implemented in the country's 9 oil-producing states. Security in the Lake Chad region and the Sahel formed the main focus of every meeting of West African leaders, just as Nigeria hosted the 56th ECOWAS summit and President Muhammadu Buhari launched National Security Strategy Policy, which fashioned out ways and means of addressing security issues in the country. Nigeria's security forces never relented on their oars in ensuring optimal service delivery to the nation as they continued in their onslaught against Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast and other criminalities in some parts of the country. The Nigerian Army went a step further to commence local production of customized mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAP, to assist its counter-insurgency fight. The Nigerian police also got energized to rid the country of crimes following the acquisition of state-of-the-art policing assets.
My vision is to bequeath to our nation a legacy of a reformed, modernized, fully equipped, highly motivated, and citizen-focused police force that is reorientated to the virtues of professionalism, respect for rule of law, due process, and best international practices in their operations.
The passage at second reading of the anti-social media bill, which seeks to criminalize the use of the social media in peddling false or malicious information, was an issue that raised dust in the outgoing year. There were outcries against the passage of the bill. Also, in her commitment to end violence against women, Nigeria launched a Median National Sex Offenders Register, setting up a database for those convicted for sexual violence. In another development, Nigeria and South Africa established an early warning system to control xenophobic attacks. This followed President Muhammadu Buhari's state visit to South Africa on the heels of attacks on foreigners in that country, which also made Nigeria to withdraw from the World Economic Forum held in Cape Town in September. Hundreds of Nigerians were also repatriated as an aftermath. And on the other hand, startup parks were given to Libyan returnees. On entertainment, Nigerian music icon Innocent Idibia, known as Tubaba, and Grammy nominee Burna Boy emerged major winners at the 2019 All-African Music Awards, AFRIMA, which was held in Lagos, Nigeria.
AFRIMA in particular has helped has led to an explosion of the industry, hunting and recognizing new talent, and in the process being able to making young people realize their ambitions.
And the sports sector added muzzle as the Super Eagles ended the year as the 31st team in the world and third in Africa in FIFA ranking for the month of December. These are some of the stories that made headlines in the outgoing year. I guess your memory is refreshed. Enjoy the season. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Well, thank you very much, Uche, for that review. Time for a quick check on Sunday's weather prospect for Nigeria and some cities of the world. And with weather forecast there, we end the news and enter international. Thank you very much for your time with us. My name is Justin Bermunyi.